Da, 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 da. I am connected, right? Oh yeah, there we go. Yeah. I am connected, right? Echo through my system a number of times because I'm picking up. Oh yeah, there we go. Yeah.
Yes.
So that's all the correct information that's in the doc. These are all new articles. I just inadvertently had not updated the header up here, which is confusing. So if you don't want to pay me this week, it's fine.
Put it on my tab.
That's right. I'll give you a freebie the next time. Hey, Bill, welcome. Well, guys, that is the document. We've brought it out already. This is the San Carlos Computer Club, and obviously I just hit the go button. We are an all virtual meeting, which means I could have stayed at home today and met you in my shorts. Oh, and I want you to appreciate my shirt. If you guys haven't seen it, my favorite computer club shirt. I'm a printed circuit board. I look like the NC. Let me put a picture.
Okay, you walked away from the microphone or something. We can't hear what you're saying about your shirt.
Oh, that's because my microphone's on my other shirt. How's that? It's a printed circuit. It's Timu. So this is the San Carlos Computer Club. We meet every Tuesday at 10. We do a virtual meeting, which we are in now, and an in-person meeting, which I am doing with Jonathan here at Tequila's. I just had Huevos Rancheros, which is one of my favorites here at Tequila's. Bill is missing out on chilaquiles. And I have got this document up in front of us. Like I normally do, I come with a couple of different things I think make good talking points or good news that or not necessarily good news, but news that I think is good for discussion that I hope you guys find interesting. And of course, always I'm more interested in whatever you guys have brought. So does anybody out there? I see Christine's already got her hand up. What do you got, Christine?
Well, I have two things. I went to reactivate my Starlink in the United States, and I discovered that they had 3 programs. So I was able to reduce my monthly fee from $120 to $80 for 200 megabytes instead of the full throttle, which I never use. And the review on it said that sometimes you get the full throttle, and it hasn't been a problem with all the testing that he did.
I wonder, they do that is very similar to the way cable works, where if the capacity is there, they let you have it. But if it's not, they never promised you to have it.
Well, they do promise 200 megs.
Or 200 megabits a second down.
Yeah.
But what about the amount of data throughout the month?
You're not limited.
You're not limited. So no. What were you paying 120 a month for?
For 400 plus. Oh. Unlimited.
Oh. Well, and I think it was at your house we saw almost 500 at one time here in Mexico.
Yeah.
And you're paying in Mexico, you're paying something like $8.55 a month. That's pesos, 800. I mean, it's
$60.
Yeah. So it's almost half of what you're paying in the that plays out correctly, doesn't it? Like that's probably the plan that you're on in Mexico is a 200 megabit plan.
And I don't know. I'm going to check that out before we leave.
And depending on how saturated that satellite is, you probably get up to 500 at some times.
That's true. It has something to do with that.
Yeah.
How many people are on it?
Hey, Rich. I wish you'd come to Tequila's for breakfast. I'm sitting here by myself today.
Well, I could just do that, Scott.
Hey, come on down. I'm just sitting here drinking coffee and talking to these fine folks. Hey, Chester, welcome.
Buenos dias.
Buenos dias. Good to see you. Well, that was Starlink. That's good to hear. When you were telling me that you were spending $120 a month on Starlink, I thought that sounded pretty expensive. It's nice to know there's tiers like that. If you needed that much bandwidth guaranteed, somebody can buy it. But I'm sure you're right. I'm sure you'll get by just fine with 200 megabits a second.
Yeah, I mean, we don't game or do anything
That's 4
crazy.
times what I've got in my office. So you've got to be able to get by it.
And then the other item is I want to give a shout out to San Jose Hospital where I spent Friday.
Oh, yeah? San Jose on Friday? Wait.
Yeah.
Everything okay?
Yeah, I guess so. It's just, my every couple year diverticulitis.
Oh.
It's not fun, but
Well, what is good to know, though, is that we have a facility like that so close by and reasonable and unoccupied. Every time I've been in there, it's like I got 3 people ready to help.
Exactly.
Christine, did you get to see a specialist, or who did you deal with?
No, the emergency room doctor, and I pretty much knew what it was because I've had it before.
Yeah.
And they did call another doctor in, and he said, well, we're not going to give you antibiotics because it doesn't look that bad and your blood work is not showing an infection. And it's passed, so I'm okay.
Yeah.
But it was just a wasted day.
I'm not.
I was wondering why I'm so hot. I forgot to turn my fan on.
Oh, but at least you got seen quickly and you got diagnosed and blood work and everything done. And...
Yeah, they did an ultrasound and Nick said, can I come? Can I come? And he's standing behind watching. He says, I have no idea what that is in there. They just wanted to rule out that there wasn't any other problem. And then the CT scan. So,
ultrasound and CT. Wow.
Yeah, the ultrasound was to rule out any tumors or anything in there. And the CT confirmed the diverticulitis.
Cool. Yeah.
And San Jose, Lakeside Medical is still not affiliated with the hospital.
Oh.
Okay, but can't you still, like you had to pay out of pocket, can't you submit it?
I can submit it to my U.S. insurance. They've paid in the past.
Oh, I see. Okay.
It's just,
Cheryl,
everything's in question. It's always the onus is on you, and then you get to try and get the money back.
Yeah, well, we did. When I was in San Jose Hospital here, Bill was on the phone every day, even before things were done, and while decisions were being made for my care and everything. And so kept our insurance company informed. And at the end of it all, I had to send in receipts. There was one receipt that did not say form of payment. It was paid in cash, so they didn't cover that one. But it was under $20. And other than that, a check was delivered to my house, and my cousin deposited it in my bank account before the bill was due by the credit company.
Yeah, isn't that wonderful? Yeah, I've scanned all my receipts and I'm ready to go.
All right. Well, do we have any tech topics? Chester, have you brought anything? Bill, Fred, Cheryl?
Sorry, I don't have anything.
Well, I hope you have my document from this morning. I did put some stuff in here I thought would be really interesting for us. The first one here is this dark sword exploit. If you guys are not aware, I recommend you update your iPhone software as quickly as possible to whatever the latest is available, because this is a vulnerability that you have to only visit. Let me bring up this article. You only have to visit a website that has been compromised, and it will take over your phone. And it's actually a combination with a combination of 2 different exploits. It's been found in conjunction with another one. It can compromise the entire phone. and to the extent that you might actually be formatting your phone to get it out of your phone. It is very impressive compromise that is associated with state actors, and they again, you would have to go to a website for this to get instigated, but it would have all access to everything, all your passwords, your password manager. They the exploit that they were using was really going after cryptocurrency wallets and bank account information. This is all on iOS. This is big news because we don't have these kinds of compromises on iOS. I mean, they're talking about 220 million vulnerables. This is such a bad exploit. They started releasing old updates for old operating systems. So if you're running a 15 version, there should be an update for you. If you're running a 14 version, there should be an update for you. It's wild how extensive this is.
How
And
about a 26?
26, just make sure you have the latest update for it. You want the latest update your device can get. I do not know. I feel like, and it might have been me, but I feel like my phone, I just recently went to 26. I was avoiding it because it's an iPhone 11, and I don't see any reason to go to 26 if it's working just fine. And I think at some point I got a message pop up on my screen asking me later or now, and I said later, and then later it updated without permission, and I realized, oh, maybe I answered that question wrong. But in a nutshell, I am actually very pleased with the 26 on my 11. I think I got a performance boost out of my phone with 26, and I do have the latest version. I mean, actually, it feels really nice. I am now like, well, I wonder why I was so concerned about, because it's the only phone I have. It's the one I use for work and life, and so I was not in a hurry to bring on a version that was ushered in by the AI revolution. That's what 26 is. It's that delineation between we weren't going nuts about AI and everything, and now Apple has to play a part in it, and it's actually put hardware and software in your device to do AI functions. And I'm just generalizing AI functions because a lot of what Apple is putting in is a lot of what Apple's just been doing iteratively each time they've updated software and hardware. It's more of the same. But there isn't the hardware in this phone that they wrote a whole bunch of new stuff for. So that new stuff isn't available to me. So I'm like, why would I update? Well, I ended up on 16.3.1-A, or in brackets A. So that is the latest update for this series of exploits that have been found. And I recommend you do it.
Yeah, I just checked my updates, and I have automatic update on right now. And I was at 26.3.1, and it says that 26.4 is available, and I'm going to do it.
Oh, well, there you go. I wonder if 26.4 is available on this now. Because what they're doing is they're honing in on all the different platforms that are suffering from this. And so
I'm upgrading on 26.4 right now.
Oh, good. So I think that is the latest version for your guys' phones. And maybe that'll come to my phone shortly as well. They will probably do it. If it's not necessary, they'll do it anyway. They'll do it to keep everything in line with the versioning. But if they've already solved the exploit in these most recent versions, they will iterate out so that the version number is continuing through the line of products until you fall out of support, when your device finally won't support anything above 26.
I just checked on my iPad and same situation, 26.3.1 was on there. I checked for updates and it didn't say that it was available until I checked. And now it says 26.4 is available.
Okay. Well, I think I've got my project. My rule of thumb is that whatever version that you're on, whether you've decided to hold back like I did with 18 for so long, or you've gone forward, I always install the latest update of those versions. And in the past, I've always recommended waiting. If you're doing a major, like I would never have gone to 26. I might have gone to 26.2, but I would never have gone to 26 because I just don't like to be the guinea pig. And that's what's going on is they've released it. They had it on thousands of phones under their control. Now they've released it out of their control and it's on your device. And if you have problems, that telemetry is being sent back to Apple and they're solving those problems and releasing those as patches. And they typically come out within the first couple of weeks after a major release. Now, this is a different situation. These releases are coming out because of this exploit. They're finding holes in their fixes and they're plugging those holes. But this is a major exploit. And one of the things I would be most concerned about is a DNS spoof that was combined with one of these. If you could convince a large number of phones to go to a website that they think is legitimate, like you're going to google.com, but it's actually not Google. It's a compromised website that looks like Google. Then you could hit so many phones, just hundreds, thousands of phones all at once. That is a lot. We're talking about credentials. We're talking about financial credentials. If you have a cryptocurrency wallet, I don't expect any of us have a cryptocurrency wallet, but anybody that does, that could be compromised. Banking apps, they've targeted banking apps with this stuff, and it's usernames and passwords for any of these. They've been targeting the financial stuff, but I don't see any reason why they couldn't just be filling a database with all your credentials. Specifically targeting somebody. If you think you're somebody that would be targeted, one of the things that has been able to stop this attack has been a feature, and I don't know, maybe you guys know about the, maybe Fred, maybe you've heard of this, but there's a lockdown mode in iPhone that I've never paid any attention to. I've left a couple of links here. There's an article that talks about what it is. It was put out in February. But there's also a video that I've included here from YouTube that talks about lockdown mode when it was a bit after it was released. I think it was originally released in 22, mainstream adoption in 23. So we've really had it for almost 3 years. And the idea of lockdown mode is that you can just toggle it on. You got to go into your settings, you got to turn it on. But what it does is it clamps down on all these different changes that can be done to your phone. It includes things like clamping down on your messaging apps so that all you can get are texts, and it will not reveal hyperlinks or pictures because vulnerabilities will come in those kinds of forms. Somebody could send you a link. One of your best friends could send you a link to your favorite travel site, and you follow that link to find out it was all bullshit, and it's actually a compromised site that has just compromised your phone. And so this lockdown mode, what it'll do is just stop you from being able to do any of that stuff. Now, I can imagine that kind of, there are very good places where that kind of lockdown is really useful. Government phones, corporate phones. As far as individuals, I think you have to decide how much inconvenience you want versus security, because it does create a more inconvenient device having the lockdown mode on. But they try and make it as convenient as possible. And in the most recent iterations I've seen, and I say all this with a grain of salt, I haven't tried it yet. I read all about this in the last couple of days, but I have not turned it on my phone yet. I haven't tried to to live with the inconvenience of things being tamped down. But what I've read about is that you can turn it on, you can specify specific apps and specific system items that would not be affected. So you can turn it on and you can be like, oh, but I always get pictures from mom on iMessage. So I need it not to lock down iMessage. And so I can go into the lockdown settings and I can specify, I want iMessage to function the way it normally does. Don't lock down iMessage. Now that actually opens up a big security risk because you've opened yourself up to vulnerabilities. But you were open to those before. Everything else that supports lockdown is lockdown. So you really are having this granular control over where you think you might be vulnerable and where you might not be. And good practices and good understanding of security, you could turn on things that matter to you, that you're like, I'm willing to take that risk, while still maintaining all this other stuff that's really tamped down to keep you secure. And there's some really interesting, with this latest vulnerability, there are security experts coming out saying if you had lockdown mode on, you wouldn't have gotten infected. There's also security experts saying the FBI can't get into the phone if it's in lockdown mode. To give you an idea of how secure it is, there's articles out there that talk about how the FBI haven't figured out how to get around lockdown mode in certain areas. It is throughout the Apple ecosystem of applications. So lockdown has features for phone calls, text messages, iMessage, FaceTime, and it includes things as granular as camera access, microphone access, so that these things are not inadvertently put to use. They very much need authorization for anything to get started up under lockdown mode. Oh, hey, Richard's here. Hello, Richard. I was just talking about lockdown mode theoretically, and I asked you last night if you were using it now. Have you ever used it?
No.
But you're aware of it?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And so I wasn't even aware of it until this latest exploit started getting some real news.
I read the Apple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It looks like a decent solution. We just need some more experience with it. I think I'm going to try it out this week and just see what I'm somebody that just has 100 apps on their phone and use it for everything. So, I mean, if something's going to become inconvenient, it's going to become very quickly inconvenient for me.
From Apple's outline of it, sounds like it breaks a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, how that plays out
in real life.
In real life, I have no idea.
Chester, you've got your hand up. Are you there?
I assume you are recommending lockdown.
I'm sorry, you faded away there, Chester. What did you say?
I assume you are recommending lockdown.
I've given you my case. I have not used it. I've spent the last 2 days reading about it. I've watched YouTube videos about it. And I think that it's significant that there are articles out there from security experts saying that it has thwarted FBI's attempts to get at information in people's phones. It has caused issues in investigations where the FBI wanted to get into the phone and the user had the foresight to be in lockdown mode and they were not able to compromise the phone. There was no compromise for the information they were trying to get at. So I think that gives you a kind of I don't know, a yardstick of what kind of security we're talking about. And so if you felt like you needed that kind of security in your life, this is something to look at. I also talk to you about the granularity of this. From what I've learned, anything that's not working for you, you're able to take them out of the law. You're able to create a whitelist of applications and functions from Apple in your lockdown mode. So if you can't live without a specific thing, like my example of pictures from my mom, it's like, no, mom always sends me pictures on iMessage. I can't have iMessage locked down to just texting. It has to show pictures. I can go into this is all theoretical. We'll have a different conversation next week. But the way I understand it, I can go into the lockdown settings. I can set iMessage to not be part of it. And so I think with that kind of granularity, I may be recommending this. This also comes from security experts. I read articles talking about how if you are somebody that feels you would be targeted, then you definitely want to be functioning in lockdown mode, regardless of how inconvenient it is. Because this lockdown mode would have prevented this infection, this compromise, which is affecting hundreds of millions of iPhones that are out there.
I'm tempted to wait till next week when you have a closer opinion.
You're no less secure knowing about it and not using it. You have gone till now. This thing came out in 22. This is the first time I've paid any attention to it. So,
okay.
Yeah, so we can wait a week. Let me be the guinea pig, and we'll see how it goes. It's like all new information to me, and I wouldn't have known about it if it hadn't been for this large compromise popping out. So yes, I'll have some more experience, but I think the recommendation, I think it's sound what I'm reading. So if what I said about your security, your privacy is a concern, if you wanted the kind of privacy that would keep like a government agency out of your phone, then you want to be in lockdown mode. I think if you're a journalist, you want to be in lockdown mode because you're somebody that might be targeted. I think if you're a politician, you'd want to be in lockdown mode because you're somebody that might be targeted. If you're a CEO or if you're a vice president of a corporation, you probably want your iPhone in lockdown mode because you'd probably be targeted. As far as us, it's that same balance of security versus convenience. If this can be convenient to use, I would recommend it. These kinds of compromises, as you can see, they that 200 million compromised devices. Such a vulnerability prompts Apple to go back 4 iterations of software to fix devices that they have taken off of their support list. They have fixed because they know they've got the telemetry. They know people are using these devices out there. They know iOS 14 is being used. They know iOS 15 is being used. And this is such a big compromise. They don't want you using it without the fix. So we might see, who knows, maybe 6 months from now, there isn't a lockdown mode. That's just the way we use our phone now. It's like everything is locked down until you open it up. Well, I think the video that I've posted is a good introduction to lockdown mode. It'll talk about some of the things I've said here. I won't waste any more time on it. The link that I've got here will talk about this most recent, this Dark Sword exploit that's been going on. He's got a subtitle, How to Stay Safe. But I mean, I'll tell you, it's update your phone. Update your phone. And if Apple comes out with another emergency update, update that. And just keep updating it to the latest version you're running. And if you're using a device that isn't on their update list, probably stop using that device I think I would if that device is doing something for you and it's not in the updates, if it doesn't have the 14, if it doesn't have the 15 update, if it's not supported up to 18 or up to 26, then I think I would get a throwaway Apple account and stop using my official Apple account with that device. I think if you want to keep that device in your life, you don't want it to have anything but garbage on it. Maybe you're using it to read the newspaper. Maybe you're using it as a Roku remote. Maybe you're using it as an Apple IT. I don't know how. There's a number of different ways you could use an old device. But the way you don't want to be using it is with your actual credentials. You want to use bullshit credentials with it. That's my piece. Any questions? Yes, Chester. You're still muted.
I had a little story to tell with PayPal.
Oh yeah, please do. Is this a follow up on your frozen accounts?
I may have mentioned this last week, but I bring you up to date on it. A couple of months ago, my sister's PayPal account was compromised. Someone had taken over her email address. And I was sending her some money as a gift. And they took it. And I was onto it because they sent me an email asking me to change the name and address on my sister's account, which I did not do. Therefore, PayPal put it in suspension. But they eventually paid me because they couldn't, this other party that had the same email couldn't give them their 6-digit number. So anyway, I received a request for $500 from my sister again, but it was not my sister. It was this extra party, this fraudulent party, asking me for $600 for my sister's PayPal.
It's still her PayPal account.
Yes, and
her email address. That's wild.
Her email address.
Does she have access to her PayPal account, or is it frozen?
No, it was frozen.
Yeah.
And I was in a hurry to get to the airport to pick up some friends, and from San Carlos, and I approved the $500 payment to my sister, forgetting about her account being frozen. And something, and I don't know what it was, called my attention that, this was not real. So I finally called my sister, and she said she didn't do it. Yeah. So I called PayPal and questioned the legitimacy of the request that I had approved. So they put a hold on their account and submitted it to investigation. A week later, I got an email from PayPal telling me that they ruled against me and were going to pay the other party. And as it turned out, the other party had given up. They didn't get the money, so they went away. So they, in fact, gave the money to my sister. So,
what sort of email address does your sister have? Hotmail, Gmail?
It's a Gmail.
Gmail.
With how I know PayPal, I mean, that's why I asked if it was frozen. If it wasn't frozen, I would disassociate that email address with her account. I mean, if they're sending you from a legitimate email address, I would consider that account to be compromised in some way.
I consider that.
Well, it was. That's right.
Yeah,
anyway,
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, exactly.
I'd get off that email.
I mean, I'd change my email password, but it's not clear how they're doing this. Well, your sister's email password I would change. But if she had her PayPal account, that I would consider that email address to just not be representative any longer, not to be what would be a good word for vetted? You don't know what's going on with that email address. PayPal will let you change your email or have more email addresses associated with your account. I would get a new email address, associate that with my PayPal account, pull the old email address out of my PayPal account, so that if you got another request like that, it would be very obvious it's BS, because there is no email account like that with your sister's PayPal account.
Okay, let me continue.
Go ahead.
I submitted all the documentation, including the address change requested by the fraudulent party, which they didn't want. PayPal did not want it. So they ruled against me and said I had to pay into that account. And I did, but it went to my sister this time. It didn't go to the fraudulent party. And so that was okay. I made a request of my sister to pay me the money back, the $500, and she complied, and she paid it back, and they credited my account. So they actually decided that it all turned out in my favor, even though PayPal decided against me. And I have concluded from all this that I will not do any business with PayPal again. They are just, they're not reliable. And if you try to talk to somebody, you're going to have an Asian accent, because that's all you're going to be able to talk to.
Well, Chester, you're drifting into the rhetoric of all service providers. Like if those are the reasons that I'm not going to use a service, I'm not going to use the internet anymore.
Well, I would have a hard time not using the internet.
Well, I guess my point is, like, I don't live in a world where I can expect to call somebody on the phone and talk to a reasonable person in a reasonable amount of time to solve a problem. That world is gone now. In fact, the world we're going into, you're going to be talking to an AI whether you know it or not. The AI is going to be trying to solve your problem until it's obvious it can't. I was having this experience the other day. I was beaten on an AI. I don't even remember what I was trying to report, but it gave me 4 choices. I'm like, no, not those. And then it gave me 4 choices. I'm like, this is not what I need. 4 choices. I'm like, what the hell? Give me somebody to talk to. 4 choices. 4 choices. 4 choices. I never did get it resolved. I can't remember where I was, but I was just, it really, this is the world we're going into. Those 4 choices are going to be on the phone. You're going to call, and you're going to be at a disadvantage, because now you don't even have documentation of the 4 choices and the inability for them to help you, because you did it all vocally instead of through a documenting mechanism.
Well, that happened to me also with Schwab. I was trying to talk to Schwab about an issue, and they sent you those 6-digit numbers to verify it's you. And I fouled that up and screwed it up. And the guy said, well, I'm going to send you another, but if you screw it up, we're going to freeze your account.
Yeah.
Well, I told him that's the last time you're going to do that, because all of my accounts are going to be moved. And I am in the process of moving them to one of the national banks.
It sure doesn't feel like we're living in a world where these services are trying to sell themselves to you, Chester.
Yeah, but there's also fraud everywhere.
Yeah, they're much more concerned about that than they are your customer experience.
They're concerned about their own ass, not mine.
Right, exactly. That's right. Yeah, I mean, I think it's just helpful to be realistic about it. The only influence that we have is purchasing power. Is that really what it is? That's the only, like you said, pull your money out. But where do you take it then? There's got to be somebody out there catering to those needs that you have. And it just doesn't feel like there's a lot of catering going on right now.
No, there's not.
Yeah. But Microsoft is losing it. They're seeing their market shares dropping every month. this is just an amazing story. Microsoft is starting to just freak out with what's happening to their Windows market shares. I've included a couple of links here. Well, we talked about it a bit last week, but there's an article here where Microsoft is finally starting to address some of the things that people are getting frustrated with in their Windows 11. I think it's all too little, too late. But we may soon be able to choose when we update software, which is a great idea right now because their last few updates screwed up so much stuff. It's amazing how many. I feel fortunate that I'm not having a problem with my computer. When you go out and you start reading about the sheer numbers, sheer volume of computers out there that are stumbling after the last 3 updates. The last 2 updates were quite literally to fix the problems created from the update prior. So they had an update that broke everything, broke a bunch of stuff.
Sorry to interrupt.
Thank you, Jonathan.
Didn't see you here, sir. Didn't see that you got here. Sorry. Would you like something maybe, or you're good? Okay.
Yeah, quite literally, the last few updates to Windows has been fixing things that they broke from the previous updates.
One thing I do feel pretty strong about that I'm very, very cautious, and that's dealing with passwords. And I keep no passwords on my phone. I keep no passwords on my computer. They're all on an external hard drive.
Well, offline, air-gapped, as people would put it, is a safer place than online synchronized. Well,
but I've opened up
not just updates for Windows 11.
I've opened up additional bank accounts so nobody can freeze me out again. If you just have one bank account, then you're subject to being frozen out, and you can't do a damn thing. Your debit card doesn't work, and your checks don't cash.
Oh, darn it. I just closed our document.
What I was saying is you want 2 major bank accounts.
Yeah, what's that, Chester?
You want 2 major bank accounts because if one of them gets haughty with you and freezes you out, or there's a compromise on the account and they freeze it till they sort out everything, you can't use your debit card, you can't write a check, you can't do anything. No ATM, nothing.
You know, as you're speaking about that, it's reminding me of 2 experiences that I've had that I think I shared with you in the past. And one of them was trying to buy plane tickets using a debit card from Delta, and their system was backlogged and would not complete the transaction on my end, but was happy to freeze up thousands of dollars from my savings account or my checking account so that the money wasn't available to be used anywhere, the ticket was not in hand, and everything was in question until Delta caught up with their problem. So I had no access to those thousands of dollars while I waited for Delta to sort themselves out. And I had no documentation of any particular ticket that I was trying to buy because on my end it was failing. But it failed twice and wiped out my bank account.
This happened to me with, of all banks, Schwab, which is considered one of the better business to do business there, but they froze my account until they could get around to looking at something that they questioned.
Yeah.
And I was doing without it. Matter of fact, I got there on my phone right now.
Well, why don't I open up this other Meet window so it's available? How much time do we have? 11 minutes until this one closes. What was my other experience just recently? It just evaded me. The thought running from me like it's hiding in the woods. Well, Microsoft, there's talks of Microsoft getting rid of needing to have a user account. In fact, I think Scott Hanselman just tweeted that he's working on eliminating the necessity for a Microsoft account to set up a Windows computer. Another source of a lot of hate. And they're tamping down on all the AI stuff. They're going to stop putting it in everything. No, are you making all that noise?
Yeah, sorry. I was just going to say that this morning my Microsoft store sent me an email about the benefits of certified refurbished devices. Everything on sale, repackaged, save up to 35%, all this stuff. They're doing lots of advertising.
That's interesting. Was that through the Microsoft store that you could buy refurbished equipment?
See,
That's
make a sustainable choice and save money on it. Expertly cleaned, repaired, tested, and certified Surface and Xbox devices.
You know this
Start
is the
shopping.
memory shortage. This is totally the memory shortage. This is because memory prices have skyrocketed, SSD prices have skyrocketed, and now CPU prices are skyrocketing. Everything is gone. There's nothing. There are no parts in the market. It's crazy. These data center, these projected constructions of data centers have sucked up all the orders for this equipment, so that this stuff is not out there ready to be bought. It's already been pre-purchased.
Get up to $800 back with trade-in. Trade-in an eligible device. Get money back. Free shipping, free returns. Find help back.
Now that's wild. This is Microsoft perpetuating a used computer market because there's no product out there. That's exciting. That's kind of Microsoft really embracing itself, isn't it?
Yeah, but I mean, it's a joke because I wonder how they, get around the TPM requirements and this and that. I mean, so.
Oh, it's their equipment, right? It's all Surface equipment, isn't it? Yeah, it's not Dell. They're doing the TPM. This is refurbished.
Yeah, but this is older stuff before TPM.
No, it's not. Their
Okay.
Surface stuff all satisfies their requirements.
Okay.
They wouldn't be refurbishing stuff that didn't include it. Yeah, it has to run Windows 11. And it's not going to be HP, it's not going to be Dell, it's going to be Microsoft Surface stuff. But this is a great way to approach this problem. I bet we'll start seeing the same thing happening with Dell and HP. Well, maybe not HP. They have such crappy equipment. Who would want to refurbish that stuff? They're probably taking it back for free. If you're trying to recycle it, they've got somebody in the back with a hot air gun just melting chips off of boards so they can put them on new computers. I'm just kidding. But it's a pretty practical approach to this.
Yeah, sort of, but
when
so you've made a product that nobody wants.
Oh, well, they're fixing that side of it.
And you've no, but they can't.
Well, they can't do it in time.
Yeah.
That's the thing, is they are scrambling right now to turn around the Titanic. And they have they have set in a course for doom. And it all started back when Satya Nadella decided that Windows wasn't the priority. Cloud was the priority. And if cloud is that's where they've ended up making all their money most recently, and they're losing their Windows market share in governments, in corporations, because of the security issues, the recall stuff. They've incentivized these large organizations to come up with their own distribution of Linux to run. And so we've got governments across the globe running Microsoft software now, racing towards a day to turn it off and turn on their own sovereign operating system. And I don't think they can come back from that. I don't think there is a play they can make with a fix to Windows that doesn't still have them sitting there just like a competitor. Before, they were a monopoly player that could dictate the rules. But when you've got all these governments out there making a Linux distribution, you've got all these corporations with a mandate to make Linux possible on their in their ecosystem, then you're going to see Microsoft having to compete right alongside Linux. And the sad truth for Microsoft is the most recent releases of Linux have much better telemetry than Windows does.
Well, and they created the budget for the government or business that wants to do a custom Linux distro with their licensing fees.
Right?
Because by definition, the budget is at least the sum total of what you were paying Microsoft.
Right, at least.
Even if you get no other benefit, I mean, that has to be a budget and a not insubstantial budget.
Well, especially because of subscriptions and cloud services that come alongside the enterprise. There is no, Microsoft has positioned itself so that you are not buying a server and putting it in the corner of your office and wiring computers to it and being done with that purchase. They've infiltrated all these organizations with a subscription cloud model so they could in perpetuity gain money from them. And now they've pissed them all off. they've made their job even more difficult. Not only are they,
and it's a bit the Trojan horse too, because once you have your budget to tailor a Linux distro for your particular government or business purposes,
I hear what you're
same
saying.
Guys who are doing that, maybe they say, hey, you know what? Why don't we get out of the cloud? I know how to set up servers. Why don't we set up our own servers?
If this is our budget, here's what we could do instead of giving it to Microsoft. And it's very practical in this day and age. And it's not going to stop. What are like South Korea? I'm trying to remember some of these countries that have an active project right now to get a sovereign operating system. They are not going to stop because Microsoft starts meeting the issues. Because the big issue is they've only used Microsoft because there was no alternative before. Microsoft has had a dominant player in this field since the beginning. They created the field. And so this is the very first time they've been challenged with competition at this level. And they're stuck. They've created it for themselves. They could have given people everything that they wanted so that they wouldn't want to leave Microsoft. They decided to turn everything into a transactional possibility, and now they've tried to add AI into everything because that would boost stock prices, and it's completely backfired on them, because they've created a privacy and security problem that none of their governments don't want it involved with them. Organizations, corporations don't want it involved with them. All their security people are what is it? Rejecting the Windows 11 model because of security. It's in a country's best interest not to be using. Boy, aren't we proven that right now? It's in a country's best interest to use resources within its own country. It's a security risk to be reliant on a provider from a foreign country. And they've only had to do it because Microsoft created this market.
Well, and I think they completely they underestimated malleability, usability.
Well, they
didn't take Linux seriously.
Well, they
the workstation.
Switching meetings, less than a minute.
Got it open, ready for people to move over. Well, I mean, like, we were both there. There was a time they could have felt that way. What is surprising?
Yeah, 15 years ago.
Yeah,
That's a long time.
they had plenty of time to be ready to fight this. It's been growing ever since. The thing that should just boggle your mind is Linux is everywhere. Linux is in everything. I wouldn't be surprised if these wireless microphones that I'm using is running a distribution of Linux in them so that they can. That's not me, it's you, Cheryl. I don't know what that's all about.
Sideways.
She is sideways.
Oh, you crazy girl. You crazy girl. There you go.
All right. Maybe you've got your lock on.
Now you're no.
Oh, there it goes. All
There you
right.
go. You're vertical girl now. Very nice.
But yeah, Microsoft had plenty of time to anticipate this and rebuild their product into the thing. They tried for a while there. You remember they had Windows 10 running on Raspberry Pis. I mean, they wanted Windows. Windows was going to be the Internet of Things operating system. They really were going in that direction, and then they got all caught up in this subscription model stuff, and then they drunk the Kool-Aid of AI.
And the AI stuff.
They drunk the Kool-Aid of AI, and they dumped all kinds of money into the idea that their stock would be worth so much more money if they followed this AI trend. And now here they are. They're scrambling right now to have a roadmap to an operating system that will sit alongside a sovereign Linux distribution when it goes up for bid to these large organizations. When you go to Ireland and say, this is how much we'd sell you service for, and they're like, well, we already worked out our own Linux distribution. This is how much it's costing us. Right. So can you give us that price?
Right.
They've really shot themselves in the foot with this. It's actually emblematic of the facade that's going on in the tech world right now, just to boost stock prices. It's a dot-com bubble again. This AI stuff is what we experienced when people were just dumping money into whatever idea. Now they're just dumping money into whatever says AI.
I think that Ed Zitron is completely correct that there is no big idea now. And that really isn't that unexpected because big ideas come along. One of the reasons why we call them big is because they're unusual. Okay, well, you had mobile computing, and, we've had a series of big ideas. There isn't a big idea.
What you mean, like a killer app?
Yeah, I mean, like AI was supposed to be, like the metaverse was supposed to be, like cryptocurrency was supposed to be. These were supposed to be transformative in the same way that mobile computing.
I hear what you're saying now. Yeah,
There's nothing out there like
we
that.
still reference all the way back to 2007 when the iPhone was released. It changed our world. I was watching news video of the line at the Sky Harbor Airport. Oh my God, they've got people are standing. They're lined up all the way out. These are like, it's just nuts what's going on with TSA. But you know what is symbolic is the security footage that's overlooking these people. Hundreds of people staring down at the Black Mirror. Hundreds of people in line, all of them doing exactly the same thing, something that never happened before 2007. So we still go back to 2007. That is a revolutionary change.
Absolutely.
And none of these other things are. All these other things are iterative, and they get boosted up as the next great generational change of technology. And it is for the inflation of stock prices.
And it's stuff that nobody wanted. You didn't, and Zitron makes this point, that You didn't have to explain to somebody what was cool about a smartphone versus a dumb phone. They got
Especially the first time you used one.
it.
And you
Exactly.
put one in somebody's hand, and it's like, oh yeah.
Oh, I can see a website, and now I can have a video call. I mean, this didn't require any explanation. And now you have these guys spinning in circles trying to explain why you would want AI to summarize your email, why you would want to sit in a meeting with a silly visual avatar with another guy as a replacement to a simple video feed.
Well, you say that, and I'm sure you're thinking about the metaverse being announced to be shut down and then be brought back up.
It's analogous to if you got to explain a joke, it isn't funny.
That's interesting. Yeah, it's an interesting perspective on it. Yeah, I mean, like I know we bash the concept of AI back and forth quite a bit. I see the iterative value.
Sure.
Right. Pictures are cleaner. But did you see the NVIDIA announcement? NVIDIA is showing off DSS5 to their video game people.
Excuse me.
And what this is all performative with their latest hardware, which is not available for people to buy, to show off what NVIDIA can do. He gets up on stage and he's talking about how they're going to use this new DSS5 to make your games and your virtual realities look more real and more presentable, more studio produced. And it's basically a filter. It's what is it? It's like a really expensive Instagram filter.
And it's going to require two
cards,
two 5090 cards that you can't get in the first place.
You can't get one of them to begin with. But you're going to need one to run the game and the other one to run the AI that's going to make these changes that after the presentation, slews of people hit the internet going, nobody wants this. Nobody wants this. And we can't buy the hardware anyway. So what's the point of this? And I can see where in the background, little bits of this absolutely make sense. They do. It's like changes that need to happen dynamically, quickly, and some error. I can see some use for some of this stuff. But the reason it's on stage is because they're boosting their stock price, not because they're making generational changes in technology. It's because they can put on a dog and pony show and try and sell one more, look at the value that we bring to this community. So when we talk about it's all going to fall apart at some point, we really are talking about the financial investment in all this. The technology will stick around. It's just the major players will shift around on the stage. Kind of like Netscape falling out of favor when Microsoft and
our friends online probably haven't heard me say this as many times as you have. But I think AI is fine. And if it was being funded at 10% of the amount that it's being funded, I'd say it's fine.
Right.
You know, it's useful. You'll find uses. That's great. The NASDAQ gets skewed by these companies with these ridiculous valuations. You know, that's a different matter. That's not saying AI is completely useless and will never find its place.
Yeah, it's important to separate these two things that are happening right now, because it's being done for speculative value, future value, which is bullshit. It has not proven to make any money, but it's being used to prop up the value of all these companies, and it will fall down eventually, like the .com bubble burst. But I think what's really going to bring it down is personal AIs, personal LLMs. We've talked about it. You and I have talked about this before.
So on the one hand, the most sophisticated services are unimaginably expensive. So that is a problem if you don't have unlimited. And then you get chewed up at the bottom end with some open source model that
that is good enough.
That can
That's good enough.
Can do
Yeah.
this little AI thing.
Well,
that's the thing that's actually useful.
Did you see that news about how this is driving the Mac Mini sales? The base Mac Mini at $600 is become the choice platform for personal LLMs. And they're open source models.
By the way, Cheryl, did you buy that pretty colorful computer I was trying to sell you last time?
Not yet. I'm going to do that once I get home to Canada in May.
Okay, so we're about 60 to 90 days off that. Have you settled on a color?
No. I haven't even checked out the colors.
Hey, one of my gripes with it. Oh, hey, Chester, you've got your hand up. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to ignore you. What do you got going on? If you're still there.
Well, the timing may not be correct, but I wanted to put this out before Cheryl decided to call it a day. And it's a series that we have found that's one of the best series that we've seen in a very long time. So far, they've only released 6 hours, but it's very entertaining, an adult entertaining for 6 hours. And it's called it's the name of a river in Canada.
All right, well, Chester, let's go back to that in just a second because we're almost done here. But I did, since Richard has brought up the Neo laptop, I wanted to reiterate that one of my grievances with it is that it doesn't have a backlit keyboard. And I think that if you're my age and older, I think you need a backlit keyboard. Now, here's something I hadn't thought about. And another podcaster brought this up I just in the last week. They're going to have Temu keyboards for that laptop. You know it. You're going to be able to go to Temu. And have you taken the repairability of this laptop is so easy compared to Macintosh technology in the past. I mean, I've watched the whole laptop be taken apart. I've never seen anything like it before. No glue, all screws. You can get the battery out, you pull the keyboard off. There'll be a Temu keyboard that will be backlit that you can add to this laptop at some point. I'm sure of it. Until then, you get a USB light and just put it over your key. Just a little flexi cable and get a USB LED strip that you could just put at just lay it across the what am I trying to? What are these called?
Screen.
Well, screen, but the mark. I can say it in Spanish. Thank you. The bezel. You can two-sided glue it to the bezel. Tape it to the bezel. I think they look great, and experts are all out there going, this is the laptop. If you're looking for a laptop, this is the laptop. Cannot recommend a Microsoft laptop when this is in the market.
For $500.
$600. Unless you got a student in your life, then it's $500.
You just go to the local university and say, hey, I'll pay you $20.
Do you have to prove you're a student?
I don't, it always feels like Apple's been really, really lenient about that kind of stuff. I'm sure there's some easy way to get a hold of a student discount.
I'm a student of the world.
There you go. Sign up for some free ministry classes and show that to them. Well, let's see. Did we hit everything on
So
that?
Chester,
I got one more topic that I think matters. Well, you have got a lot of noise on your end, Cheryl.
sorry, the gardener's doing the leaf blower.
Hey, this last topic I thought would be ring true to a lot of people. they have added AirDrop support to your Samsung phones. This is now the latest phones. So this is the S26, the S25. But it reads like they have plans to move it backwards. And what I didn't realize is that Google had made this part of Android. Now AirDrop, if you're an iPhone user, you're probably familiar with the ease at which we can move documents and pictures back and forth between iPhones, because AirDrop is just integrated in there. But going from an iPhone to an Android device has always been particularly different, because you end up having to use a messenger or something to send a picture or a document. There isn't a wireless, easy, always works way to pass an asset from one device to the other, because they're not on the same platform. And so what this article is from The Verge is announcing that Samsung's latest S26 has built a AirDrop compatible feature that you can add to your Samsung by going into your share feature and adding AirDrop, and you can just send things to iPhones and receive things from iPhones. This right now is only on this Samsung model, but it reads like it's going to go roll back to previous versions. It also exists on the Google Pixels, the most recent Pixel releases. And that is in Android. And what Google did was they reverse engineered AirDrop. They didn't get any official permission from Apple. They just figured out how Apple was doing it. And so that is now part of Android, but Google's the only one implementing it on their phone right now. Samsung is the next one to have implemented this. And I think we're going to see this trickle through the Samsung ecosystem. Samsung being like the next, you'd think that would be you got iPhone, Samsung, and then all the others, right? So, well, and Huawei, if you're not in the United States, Huawei's there, yeah. But that's a big deal, and it affects all of us. Everybody's going to be affected by that kind of change. Kind of like the RCS support that Apple is finally bringing encrypted messages to their platform for Android users. You know, those redheaded stepchildren of communicators. We have reached almost the end of this meeting. Chester had a recommendation that he wanted to add to our list. What do you guys, did you figure out the name of that, Chester?
Yes, I did. And it's called the Madison.
The Madison?
It's named after the Madison River in Canada.
Oh.
It's a very adult series. And they have, I think, 6 hours so far released.
Oh, Michelle Pfeiffer's in it. Look at that. Kurt Russell. I probably should know who Ellie Chapman is. Matthew Fox.
Kurt Mars.
Very cool. Well, I'll add that.
You know, Chester, I've seen it advertised, the Madison. I didn't know it had anything to do with Canadian rivers. But let me tell you what just happened. I was searching for a limited series recently released about a river in Canada. And I came up with all kinds of things that I've never watched. None of them might have to do so. One's called The North Water, a bleak thriller about a disgraced army surgeon on a whaling ship. Long Bright River, a gritty American limited series about a Philadelphia police officer. And Streams Flow from a River. So I found all kinds of interesting things. Thank you, Chester.
Hey, I'm gonna recommend a movie. I'm really surprised that I'm gonna recommend it, but it's a Kevin James movie that just came out called Solo Mio. And it's a romantic comedy, which is not something that I'm typically into. But Yuya and I watched this the other night, and we're just really surprised at what a good movie it was. It's about a guy that goes to Rome goes to Italy to get married and gets left at the altar. That's how the movie starts. And then it's all about his trials and tribulations in Italy dealing with this situation. And what impressed both you and I is that it's one of the first times we really saw Kevin James act. I mean, he really displayed this range of emotions that we never expect from this dude. This is a guy that was King of Queens. He did a bunch of Adam Sandler type movies. He's always plays the same character. He is not impressive. I mean, he's a nice. I'm sure he's a nice enough guy, but he's just not somebody you think of as having much of a range. And he did an excellent job in this romantic comedy. He was really displayed just this real range of. He had me upset. I'm like, oh, she left you. I couldn't believe it. I was getting into it. So I recommend it. I thought it was great. And what was fun later, I went to I'm like, did other people feel this way? And I see this IMDb score of like 6.9 on my first search. I'm like, well, that doesn't, maybe I'm fooling myself. And then I start looking on Rotten Tomatoes. Critics give it an 8.9. Those are their critics. But their popcorn score, like people like me that have taken the time to say something, 95%. So I think he did an excellent job in it. It's the first time I've thought of him as a real actor.
Where might I find Solo Mio?
Streamio?
I have a phone problem.
Yes, Chester.
I downloaded this new number 4 system, and now I can't get to my phone Facebook. It won't open up.
What did you download?
The new system, 26.4.
Oh, you did that while we were talking here?
Yes, and now I can't get to my the broad shows everything.
If you're looking at your apps, at the very least, if you swipe all the way to the right, you should see a list of everything that's installed. But also, Chester, what you should expect whenever you update your operating system, you should expect it to be a little laggy right afterwards, get hot, maybe drain the battery more than normal. And all of that is normal behavior right after an update. Because
at first I was getting a foreign language, a Middle Eastern language.
Oh, that's the hello message, yeah.
And I got rid of that. Now they want a fingerprint, and I don't want to do that.
Okay.
And so I can't get to my cover page. I can't get to my software. You update. I can't get to my.
Well, Chester, can't you just skip the fingerprint and put in your PIN?
I don't want my fingerprint.
That's what I'm saying. Skip it and put in your PIN number.
I don't have a PIN number.
Oh, you don't have security on your phone?
No, I don't want a security on my phone.
You mean after all these successful PayPal experiences, you want to?
I don't go anywhere. There's not a chance I can lose it.
I wonder if can you roll 26 without security? I don't even know if that's possible. You might have to set up a fingerprint just to get into it and then turn it off if you don't want to use it.
Okay. I'll do that. I'll give it a try. I don't want to keep in longer because I know.
I haven't faced that. I'll do some research and see what it says, but there's a good chance you have to just go through the interview and get set up and then backtrack. I do not know if you have to have security on in 26. Let's do a quick Gemini question here and just see if this is the case. Can I use
I'm going to shut it down and restart it.
26 without setting up Fingerprint. Biometrics, without setting up biometrics. I don't know if I spelled that right, but let's see what Gemini, maybe this is the AI question of the day. It says you can, without setting up biometrics like Face ID or Touch ID. While Apple heavily promotes these features for convenience, they remain optional for the core operating system. However, there is a significant catch. In this version, regarding specific high security features, there's a breakdown of how it works. Password requirement. While you can skip biometrics, you will still be prompted to create a numeric passcode. This becomes your primary way to unlock the phone. You can technically even skip the passcode, but this is highly discouraged. I think you're going to have to answer the questions and then come back and turn it off.
Okay, I'll do that and see where we get.
Yeah, look for a skip. But if they're going to let you do it, they're going to have a link down at the bottom or in a corner that'll let you just go bypass that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
See you next week.
See you next week, Chester. And I guess I'll say goodbye to everybody unless there's any other comments, any other recommendations. Cheryl, you got anything else? Fred?
Well, I was just going to say that the thing about paying for gas and toll in Mexico has to be digital. There's a couple of things out about that today.
Yeah. And then there's our belief of whether that's actually going to happen or not.
Yeah, well, the one is an article about Schombaum speaking to bankers and the banks in Mexico working on a deal with the gas stations for a certain kind of card or something.
Is that related? That sounds like something else.
It was at the same banking conference that she talked about the toll booths and the gas stations.
Well, what we know is the reality of Mexico, and they have not been able to. They have not been able to keep. They have not been able to solve the problem of cars from the states driving down here, right? So we've got all these own-a-PAFA vehicles still. We've got all these like pseudo-plated cars that aren't legitimate with the government. They can't seem to control that. It's really hard for me to believe that if we live in this kind of environment, that they're not going to have a system to pay a toll with cash in perpetuity. It's just, it would have to be a phone thing. It would have to be an app thing. Maybe it's tied to this registration stuff, but I don't see any other way. We just, because of the environment, I use that as kind of an analog to this problem. They're trying to get people to pay for tolls digitally, but we live in a world where they can't even get people to put license plates on their car. It just doesn't, they just don't mix. I don't see it. I see in perpetuity there being an exception to this rule.
I guess I have to agree with you. When we were in the Copper Canyon, we were being toured around by a local resident, and there's no license plate on the vehicle we were driving in. And he said, what do we need that in the canyon? What do we need that in this part of the world? You know, so he firmly believed there was no need.
Yeah, it's like, well, I didn't buy it, so I'm going to sit here until you come up with how I deal with it, right? As cars are backing up behind me, they're going to just, you know, if they do this, that's going to be, that's going to be the, that's the inflection point, right? They're just going to let you go. They're just going to have to let, if they have no system to take cash, they're just going to let you go. Otherwise, people are going to pile up behind you. They're going to have to deal with you. Tourists, they're going to have to deal with. There's always going to be an exception. The exception might even be just an informal policy of give them the money and they'll open the gate and the money gets put in their pocket for lunch. That's the most likely, isn't it? It's like, well, yeah, we're supposed to be doing. But I did hear Somebody told me recently. He told me I was supposed to check this out with you, and I haven't. This might just be Cheesema, but I heard that you're supposed to start scanning your temporary and resident card as you're leaving. The airports do it. I had this the last time I flew out. I had to go to immigration and show them my residence card, and they had to mark it as me going out. And when I came back in, they had to mark me as coming back in. I heard that we may need to start stopping at 21 and running the card through their computer. I'll double check.
So that's
What's that?
That's for temporary residents?
And permanent. Anybody that's on an FM
and
card.
permanente.
Anybody that's on an FM card, either temporary or permanent.
Well, we have an FMM, and we are turning them in and getting our passports stamped and initialed the day that we turn them in every year for the last about 4 years now. We've been doing that.
So you're doing a, what are you doing? You're doing a tourist visa.
180 days.
Yeah, that's different.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the green card. This is the Mexican version of a green card for us.
Right, yeah. Well, a lot of people believe that we don't have to turn ours in, and we firmly believe that we do, and we've had our things stamped.
Well, this is the equivalent of that for us that have resident cards. Yeah. And quite literally, the reason we didn't use them before, we didn't have to do this, they would tell us they don't have the equipment, they don't have the system, there's no need to stock. And what I'm hearing is they now have the system, they now have the equipment, you need to stock. So we'll find out more about that in the future. I got to remember to ask you about it. It really caught me off guard because I really take advantage of not having to stop for anything.
So I'm looking at the Madison, and I found that it's supposed to be on Prime, but I had my VPN set for Canada, so I changed my VPN set for the United States, and I found it, but it says currently unavailable. I don't know why. Huh. It doesn't like me using my VPN, I guess. I don't know.
Maybe it's only available on a certain Prime, like Canadian Prime versus Mexican Prime.
When I did just watch, not available in Canada at all.
Oh.
And it did say that on Prime you could either pay for it or with a Prime subscription. I don't know.
Did you do just watch on Solo Mio? Yeah. Oh. I feel like.
Did you by chance get a chance to look at the drones? And you search on YouTube for drones in Ukraine?
I didn't do that. I meant to mention that one to Bill because I thought he'd be interested in that, Fred. I'll mention it to him again.
It was very interesting. There were several of them that were very interesting.
Well, look at that. So the movie I'm recommending, they don't have a region where you can watch it, for Mexico. You can watch it. You can watch it in the United States on Prime or on Apple TV, and there's a listing here for Canada. Apple TV on in Canada. What is this? But there isn't a Mexican listing, so I guess Streamio would allow you to watch it. All right, guys, I'm going to let you go. It's that time. Have a wonderful week. We'll talk next Tuesday. Until then, tech on.
I just wanted to confirm, next Tuesday, it's Semana Santa, is it? Or does that kind of not affect things until later on?
Well, technically it is Semana Santa, but we would probably not be having action here until Thursday.
Okay.
Like anything that would shut anything down. If we had a computer meeting on a Thursday morning, I'd be doing it from my house. I wouldn't try and get the tequilas.
Okay. We'll see you next Tuesday.
All right. See you guys.
Take care.
Adios.
You too. Bye-bye. All right. That was us doing the computer club. Everybody's welcome to join us. We meet in Tequila's at 10 on Tuesdays. Come on down. If you like what we did, you can find announcements from us on scclub.org. We're in other places too. If you're looking for computer help, either remotely or here locally in San Carlos, you can get a hold of me, Scott at internationalcs.net. I can be your connection. Hey, and we're coming up on bed and breakfast season. So if you have any interest in going to Alaska, we have the bed and breakfast there in Anchorage, and we're taking bookings now. So if you are affiliated with San Carlos, and somehow we will give you the San Carlos discount. That's a 10% on any stay with us. 10% discount. So look for us, AnchorageWalkaboutTown.com or AnchorageWalkabout.com. Until next Tuesday, everybody, tech on.